And welcome into Pressbox Live. And as usual, we are brought to you by C3 American Exteriors. Good evening. I'm Stan the Fan Charles. Ross Grimsley is with me. And another former Oriole is joining us. And we're going to talk to Coach Larry Sheets, the coach of the Gilman High School here in Baltimore, and the father of a recent Major League debut, Gavin Sheets. We'll talk to him in just a minute. Got to tell you about Pressbox Live and our association with C3 American Exteriors. You can go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible if it's been hurt in one of these storms or the hailstorms. And again, as I say, every Monday and Wednesday when we do the Zooms, there's no more expensive thing that you can do at your home than fix or replace your roof. And if you're doing that, you want to know the people, like them, and trust them. And I can say all those things about the folks at C3 American Exteriors. Again, that website is c3america.com. You won't go wrong. Joining us now is former Oriole. He played with the Birds from 1984 until 1989. And then at the end of his career, I have to admit, I never remembered you in a Detroit Tigers uniform and then sitting out a couple of years in 91 and 92 and coming back with the Seattle Mariners. I guess I'm getting too old. I don't remember that, Larry.
Well, Stan, it's good to be on tonight with you guys. And no, I went from I got traded from Baltimore to Detroit. I think they threw in a couple dozen bats and some balls and
used balls.
There were a couple new ones, but and then
I did not remember that. I really honestly didn't. Okay.
Yeah, and then I went to Japan in '92. Okay. And then came back and went to AAA with the Brewers and got traded to Seattle and got to play at Camden Yards, one of the last series of my career.
So just one question about that, because your Oriole career, I think, is mostly a positive career. Did you not feel like you fit in with Frank in 1989 because you were on the 89, would you believe, were you not like having the greatest season and you just didn't sync with Frank?
Frank is gone now.
You weren't one of his favorites, I guess.
It was mutual. So we were good there. Yeah. So okay. Yes.
All right. We'll move on from that. Right.
Thank you.
Ross, you take over and ask a couple questions.
You played for Weaver too. You played for Earl. You played for Sparky. You played for two guys I played for. How was that experience? How'd you like that?
Well, Ross, as you know, if I hadn't played for Earl Weaver, I wouldn't have felt like I played in the Orioles organization. Right. And God rest his soul. And I know one of your best friends, but I mean, I would give anything to be able to sit with Flanny right now and just hear him just go on about his stories of Earl. And I mean, if you're not crying, you're dead. I mean, he would have you in stitches. And then Sparky was, as you know, the exact opposite, right? If he said your name, that was a bad thing because he just let you go out and do your thing. And as long as you were doing your thing, he didn't know you and you didn't know him. And but two completely different ones, because Earl knew your name and had, might be calling you something else, Larry, but
exactly.
The funniest one with Flanagan is the famous one where Haller's brother, Bill Haller, the umpire, called a balk at first base when his brother was catching for the Tigers, and Earl runs out and says to Flanagan, "Did you balk?" And Flanagan says, "Yes, I did." And he goes, "What the hell?" And he runs over cursing at Haller. It was great.
Well, there wasn't just one funny one, I assure you. Yeah, that was classic.
We could go on for days. Hey, Larry, you started out, you were drafted, in your second round. You spent 6 years, I guess, 7 years in the minor leagues. Gavin kind of did similar. You know, I mean, you had an idea, and you had some pretty good years in the minor leagues. Gavin did too. Did he come to you for any advice, or what advice did you give him? You know, being that you were playing well, not getting an opportunity, what you tell him?
Well, you know, again, I did. You know, the night he got drafted was an interesting night 4 years ago, and you know he's playing in the Super Regional against Florida to decide whether who's going to the College World Series, and I'm making all these decisions at home. And I told him at that point, I said, son, I said, here's terrific, congratulations, but now nothing will make sense. You know, no decision that organizations make will make sense. And you know, you've just got to understand that. You've got to understand that going into it, because if you don't, then you're going to, you know, pull your hair out. And he's so level-headed. He is so different than me. You know, you don't know if the kid's gone 4 for 4 or 0 for 4. I mean, you knew whether I went, you know, what I did on everything, because I carried it right on my sleeve. But and I think that's just what's made him so much stronger than myself, that you know, he just handles these things and it just rolls right off his back.
Yeah, the thing with you know, after the COVID last year, and he wasn't put on the roster. I know that had to be really disturbing to him and stuff. What did you tell him? What did he what did he have to do to obviously catch the eye of whoever was in charge at the big league level or in the organization?
You know, that's a great thing. And I tell you what, I mean, and looking back on it, was a godsend, because you know, we had a conversation because he was frustrated. You know, I mean, he was in big league camp still, you know, when COVID shut him down, and their response was, you know, we don't need first baseman, we need pitchers. So they loaded up their site with pitchers. And I told Gavin at that time, I said, look, here's the deal. I said, you're not the man in this organization. I mean, and you're not going to be the man in any organization. But what you've got to do is you've got to bring more value. And so he went out and started training harder, lost about 15 pounds, picked up some speed. Then we started working on outfield stuff to bring more value. And that was like the golden ticket. I mean, you know, the fact that, I mean, he made his debut 2 weeks ago in right field. And, you know, again, I tried to do it. I tried to play. I tried to catch. I tried to play first. I tried, you know, anything I could do to bring more value to an organization is what you have to do.
You know what's interesting, Larry? I don't know how closely you follow the Chicago White Sox, but the guy that they picked, Vaughn, the first baseman, who also had to go to the outfield. It's been very interesting how much he has picked up since Gavin came to the White Sox. He's gotten a lot hotter because I think he senses that there's somebody nipping at my heels a little.
Well, you know, I tell you what, I played golf. They were in town, obviously, and then they had an off day on Thursday, and I played golf with those guys. And I will say this, that is a tight knit group. He's like a kid, you know, he's like the golden boy, right? He was the guy that was sort of, I don't know, didn't play higher than A ball, right? And then all of a sudden they've got him pushed ahead to the big leagues. And, you know, you want to like, I don't want to like this guy, you know. And I tell you what, I played golf with this kid, and I am his #1 fan.
Good.
I mean, that's just how fantastic he is. And you know, it was a little disturbing at the time that, you know, Gavin was 2017 second pick, and then all of a sudden 19, they're taking another first baseman.
Yep.
But clearly they did it because the kid can hit. And you know, and Gavin will find this out. You know, you hit and they'll find a place for you.
No question about it. One thing, I'm probably one of the only media people that's still on the air in Baltimore, maybe me and Tom Davis, that remember you and your trail from your being drafted by the Orioles to the major leagues. And I remember, not the exact reasons, but you were kind of reluctant about playing pro ball at certain points, if my memory serves me correct. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I want to ask you how different Gavin's path is, because I'm taking it he has had no reluctance about playing Major League Baseball.
No, yeah, I would be glad to talk about that. I mean, and it's a conversation I've had with Peter Hubeck. It's a tough game, and I think I was a second round pick, picked ahead of Cal, as we all know.
Yep.
But I think I came from a small town and really wasn't mature enough to handle it. And that's the honest truth. And I played the 1 year and everything went fine. And then I'm like, you know what? All my guy friends are in school, and I'm 19 years old, and I'm going to go to school. So I sort of took a couple sidetracks, but got back on track and it worked out. Yep. Thank God for that. But I think Gavin's thing was, when he was coming out of high school, he was drafted in the 30-something round by the Braves, which I don't think it was a reflection of where he would have been drafted, maybe in the teens or something. But, we made it quite clear that he was going to college. And it's
at
just
Wake Forest. You had a
at Wake,
commitment
yes.
to Wake Forest. Yep.
Yeah. And that just, to me, it just gives you that opportunity to mature and become stronger. And no, he hasn't had any reluctancy whatsoever. He's just hit the ground running.
Larry, was that his idea to go to college, or was that something that you discussed with him, or did he want to do that, or did he want to sign?
I don't think he wanted to sign. I think, and again, looking back on it now, I mean, I was fortunate to get Cal's seats for this homestand, which is right down there. And I'm saying,
I saw you on TV. I saw you on TV one day. I was in the press box on Saturday. You look like you were having the time of your life.
But I'm looking at him and I'm going, my gosh, you are ginormous. And coming out of high school, he might have been 6'3" and was a little bit not little chunky, I would say. And then all of a sudden, going to Wake, I mean, just going through the weight program and the development that they put you through down there. I mean, now he's, 6'5", 230 pounds. I mean, he's a big boy.
Ross, you go?
Yeah, go ahead, Stan. Go ahead.
Larry, the draft that's going on right now, how different is it from the days that you were drafted and just even a couple of years ago when Gavin was drafted? How different is it?
Well, I think when Ross and I were drafted, I think they let us know by carrier pigeon. But
pretty much,
I don't even remember. To be honest with you, I don't even remember how I found out that I was drafted by the Orioles. I mean, it was so different. And then, Gavin's year, like I said, it was so screwy because the kids were still playing and the Wake Forest was supposed to have a 1:00 game against Florida in the Super Regionals. Winner goes to the College World Series, and rain delays and everything. And by the time the game's over, I've already, with his agent, we've already made all the decisions, and he's drafted by the White Sox. So he was only told the final, okay, you're with the White Sox. I mean, and today, I mean, with social media, I think as soon as they say it, everybody in the world knows, who's been drafted where. And like I said, I was really happy for Peter Hubeck, drafted 101 by the Dodgers.
By the Dodgers. What do you like about the young man?
Well, his work.
Pitcher?
Right-handed pitcher. And
Yep.
I think first and foremost, I mean, his arm comes through there, the ball comes out of his hands so well. And, he topped out at 97, probably sat at about, 92, 93 most of the year. But his body just, it's going to grow. It's going to, and when they put him on a weight program, I mean, this kid's going to be, he's going to develop and, if his arm stays healthy, he's going to have a real shot. I mean, 3-pitch pitcher, fastball, curveball, change. But he's going to have a real shot.
I tell you, with the Dodgers, I tell you, if I was head of scouting with other teams, I would follow the Dodger scouts around because they draft tremendous players, and obviously they see something in this kid. So I would really, I think he really has a good chance, especially with the Dodgers being what they do.
Well, I guess the only problem with that is that they got so many of them.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
You know, Gavin was saying last year he was in the fall league or their instructional, and they were hooked up with the Dodgers because they shared the complex, and because of COVID, that's all he got to face. And he's like, oh my goodness, you know, every night, every day they're running some,
Yeah.
But the other team that's like that right now, and I've seen it in AAA and it really upsets me, is Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they are just loaded.
Yeah.
They are
They've got
loaded.
whatever their system is. It's just brilliant.
Well, them and the Dodgers do tremendous. I know the Pirates are starting to do some things that are good as well. So anyway, that's good that he's with the Dodgers. I know you like to have him with the O's or but I really think they think a lot of him to draft him.
Right. Well, you're.
Go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying, I would have loved to seen him go to the Orioles and develop and give a little shot in the arm as having a hometown kid but their guys went another route and so.
In your years at Gilman, is Peter the best pitcher you've had come through there? I know you've had a few good ones in there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, he again to these kids today, which blows my mind. I mean, if Peter went out there and just threw 93, 95 mile an hour fastballs, these kids are putting swings on them like you wouldn't believe. And the fact that he spins it pretty good. I know his the stats are really high with the RPMs or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
spin rate.
Spin rate. Yeah. And this change up is excellent. And you have to pitch. I mean, even having, like I said, even having the power fastball, you've got to pitch or the swings are, I don't know where the kids are coming up with them, but they're putting good swings on 95, and that's crazy.
Now, what kind of player was Gavin in high school? And I'm not asking you as a father, I'm asking you as a coach. Was he the best player you've had at Gilman?
He might have been.
Okay.
He just did every. He did the things the way they were supposed to be done. Whether I played outfield for me and he pitched for me but I mean, we've had some good ones and I don't know where Maxwell Costas might get drafted this year, but from the University of Maryland, I know his year wasn't what he was hoping for, but we've had some pretty good players over the years, but Gavin was as good as any.
Larry, I know you had the thing in Westminster, the facility there. How did you get hooked up with Gilman? How did that transpire, and how did that go?
Yeah, well, I Gavin was at Gilman, and I knew that there was a vacancy, and I talked to the athletic director, and I said, look, I would have an interest, and he wanted me to take it the 1 year before I actually came in, and I couldn't do it, and I said, look, you take it this year and I'll take it the following year. And so I got on board there, and my first conversation or my first phone call at that time, this has been like one of the most enjoyable things that I've done, is I called Cal because Ryan was there. Right. And I called Cal and I said, look, I got an opportunity to coach at Gilman. I said, the only way I'm going to take it is if you're my assistant coach. And he got on board, and cool. He was cutting trips short, and he was at most, Ryan was blown away. He was at like 98% of the practices and games, and because like I said, we signed in 1978 together, so we've gone way back, and it was just sort of a couple years that we just enjoyed working together, and it was just a blast.
Now, did help me out there. I know with the parents the way they are in this day and age, all their kids are big league players. Have you run into problems, or maybe I shouldn't say problems, issues with the parents wanting little Johnny to play more, or he should be playing shortstop, or I know you. How do you handle it? What do you do? What do you say?
Well, the one thing I do is prior to COVID, because we can't have all these meetings now and stuff, but I would always invite the parents that, look, if you come to every practice, I'll be glad to listen to anything that you say. You can be a part of the decision making. But for the most part, the parents have trusted me. I mean, I've had some situations where they want me to bat 10 or 11 so that their son will get in. But look, we go out and try to do the best we can, and when you're coaching in high school, the bottom line is you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it because you love the game and you want to be a part of the kids' lives. And I think most of the parents understand that, and we're not there to ruin their day. And
Right.
I guess to the credit of our program, I probably average playing 13 guys a game in some capacity. Whether you're a defender and you come in the game 6th or 7th inning, or we got a situation to pinch hit, and we try to get as many. Look, we're trying to win every game, and but I think it's the thing I learned from Earl. You put the right person in the right spot that you think is going to have the best chance to succeed at that point in time, and that's what he was so good at. And I think we do a pretty good job of it at Gilman.
Great.
I want to circle back. What was it like when Gavin got the call that he was coming to the big leagues? And did he make his debut in Chicago?
He did. He got called up.
And were you there?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The first time he got called up was a COVID call.
Okay.
And quite an interesting story. So he goes up and we didn't know. I mean, Vaughn, I guess, had tested positive, but he had the shots. So you don't know how long you're going to be out. And so we did go out for that. And then he got called up again, 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And did not go out for that. I wasn't quite ready to trust that process yet. Because I knew they were coming to town this weekend, and but they heard me when he got his first hit. They heard me all the way out in Chicago, and then when he hit his home run, the next day. So yes, I was there, and no, I wasn't there.
Yeah, you were there.
Do you have much of a relationship at all with Tony La Russa? Did you rub elbows against him during his managerial career? Yeah.
Well, and there was some bitterness when I came up because of the situation that happened in '83, where they hit Cal, and so there was a little bit of a, but so he was there a year or so when I was, and then he went to Oakland. So
right.
My whole career, we played against Tony La Russa teams, and he was looking for me this weekend, but we just didn't get a chance to hook up. But I've enjoyed the things that Gavin has said about playing for him, and I appreciate the fact that Gavin gets a chance to play for an old school manager.
What's your basic take on, because I'm sure you watch the games a good bit, what do you think of this club right now? They're number one. They look like they're in a position to handily win their division. Are they good enough to be a real contender this year, you think?
Oh, I do. And Jimenez is going to be coming back soon. I saw today that they sent him to AAA. He's a man child. When he comes back,
beast. Yeah,
he's a beast. And Roberts may be back. And again, these are all guys that Gavin came through the first couple of years, and then they went up. But it might be a fact that those guys come back and Gavin might go back to AAA. Yeah. But I really do think their pitching is so strong. I mean, they've got top to bottom, and now what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks with the trade deadline looming. But I mean, I had a real chance, right, to sit and watch two teams play on this weekend, and
Yeah.
one was really good, and the other one, yeah, they're searching. They're searching for where they're, again, it kills me. It kills me to see the Orioles in last place. I just, I'm a lifer, and I hate to see it. It was so weird to be clapping for the White Sox, but blood is thicker than water.
No question about it.
But I want to see the Orioles succeed.
I think we all do. And
Yeah.
obviously, there's a difference of opinion as to how to attack that. And Mike Elias has taken a scorched earth policy to this. And we don't know whether he's right or wrong right now, but he's not gentle in a lot of the moves he's made. There's no question about that. We're really
well. I wish him. I wish him the best. I really do. And the bottom line, I think the bottom line comes down to spending money, right?
Absolutely.
But then on the other hand, you got to have a reason for the the free agents to want to come here. All the ballparks are beautiful, and but I just hope they can find that little niche to get in there and get back in the swing of things.
The state of the game, before we let you go, the state of the game today as it's played at the major league level, and you got somebody, it's pretty interesting that Theo Epstein, who was part and parcel of so many changes that came into the game, he's now working for the commissioner's office and says, I helped create some of this and there's not enough action in the game. Do you see it that way right now with all the swing and miss, home run or bust?
There's a lot of things that I don't think it's a great product.
Yeah.
I really don't, so much to do with, I think last statistic I saw was 27% of at bats end up in a strikeout, a walk, or a home run. Now that's pretty boring, right?
Yeah.
I would like to be commissioner for a day, because I said this weekend, that there would be 4 feet on each side of the base, of second base. Shortstop would be on the left side where he's supposed to be, and they will be on the dirt. If you're afraid, then go be an outfielder. But this thing of it's silly to me. But then on the other hand, I don't understand why guys aren't taking that free bunt to third base. If they did that enough times, maybe this would change. But I just think we've got to get back to the fact that, look, when I got a 1-ball 2-strike, I can't swing harder than I did, when I was 1-1, and it just the strikeout means nothing anymore.
Right.
Larry, I heard a statistic during spring training this year. I was listening to a Tampa Bay game, and the announcer, ironically, Andy Freed, who's from Baltimore, was talking about in 2003, I think was the year when Joe Madden first came to Tampa, the average left-handed hitter hit 272, and that's now down to 236 in these 17 years or something like that.
Right.
That when I reflect on that, and I look at watching Chris Davis struggle and become something that was almost unbearable to watch, I got to believe it's the shift and his inability to change anything that did him in. And I also remember when Bryce Harper was a 290 to 315 hitter, and all of a sudden he's a 240 hitter. It's really had an impact, and mostly on guys like you or Gavin, the left-handed hitters.
Well, I mean, I oftentimes root for every time that ball's caught by the second baseman in right field. I hope you slip. I mean, it's not supposed to be like that. And you're supposed to, there's dirt there for a reason. So play on it. And I just hope we can get back to some sense of normalcy and, not, and get away from the home runs and the strikeouts.
All right. Ross, anything else you've got
No,
before I answer that one?
I agree. I mean, I listened to this, and you know, you look at, have you ever batting practice? Now, there was a scout I know that was down here in Florida, and looking at some of the young kids with the Yankees in Toronto, Tampa, in Toronto, and batting practice. They watch batting practice. He says, I have never seen anybody swing and miss so many pitches in batting practice and hit the opposite side of the cage. Have you ever, I mean, that doesn't happen. That is what is being taught by people that have never played the game. And it is,
Right.
and that's one of the problems. You have professional players that have played at the highest level and have the highest awards that people in baseball don't want anything to do with or listen to them. And that's, and I think the people that they need to start speaking up, or this game is going to really, the fans aren't going to come out. I mean, it's going to be, it's getting worse and worse. But I mean, you said it, it's, you know, it needs to change. It needs to get back to where it was. You can mix the two, the analytics, you can mix it, but you can't go one way, and you can't get rid of the people that made this game what it is. And that's what's happening.
I agree with you. And
so sad.
I mean, I tell you, you know, it's funny because, you know, when we played, I remember you hit a ball and you hit it too high. Oh, that launch angle was too high on that one, you know, or you hit it too low. Boy, launch angle was too low on that. I didn't need statistics to tell me where my launch angle was.
Hey,
and then there's Earl.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, then there's Earl back behind you telling you too. And I know he didn't know anything about launch angle.
I know Earl, one thing he loved imagining you as a catcher. And that must have been a horrible experience for you.
It is funny. Real quick on that, you know, we went into Oakland and I went to the ballpark, and you know, I was catching a little bit, but I went to the ballpark and Earl's got me playing third base, and we did have that rule that it was hard for Earl to manage a day game after a night game, and so I went into Earl's office and I went, you know, Earl, you got me at third base today, and he goes, well, you've been taking ground balls there, haven't you? And I'm like, well, it's a little different than in a game. Well, you're playing there today. And then I, you know, with Earl, if you won the game, then the lineup was going to be the same the next day. So now I had all night to be nervous, and thank goodness we lost the next game. But then we go into Anaheim, and I look at the lineup card, and I'm starting. I've never started a game in my life. Scotty McGregor was pitching, which was fortunate because, you know, if he just threw his glove out there in Anaheim, he beat Anaheim.
Yeah.
Well, we won. And the next day I came in and I'm like, I know I'm going to be catching. I couldn't even walk. I mean, you know, I called 7 innings. I hadn't called all year more than 1 inning. So the funny thing was that Flanny was pitching the next night, and Flanny's arm was a little bit tired, and Flanny wasn't getting on top of balls, and his ball was, oh my gosh, I looked like a hockey goalie back there. We got a guy on second base, and we didn't have a guy on second base, and I don't even know what sign we were using. I was going so fast, and Flanny was out shaking his head, you know, like this and this, and he steps off because he's the professional, right? And he calls me out and he goes, just relax, you know. I mean, and then again, thank goodness we lost that game. So that was my last catching. I called Flanny my last game that I called.
Hey, before we let you go,
Sure.
It's funny. I don't know why I haven't combined you and Cal and that story you told about, hey, I'm only going to do this if you come out and be my assistant coach. So you guys are tremendous friends.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time. You know,
it just hit me. You were playing in Seattle in '93, which means by '95 you weren't playing. Where were you when Cal set the record? Were you at Oriole Park?
Oh, absolutely, sure.
Yeah. What was that moment like for you?
Surreal. You know, I always tell people this. You know, forget the injuries. And Ross, you helped me with this. I said, the fact that he never got injured and the fact that if he tweaked something that he was able to come back. I had a part of an 8-year career, so not, longer than most, not as long as others. And I missed 3 games in that 8 years because of food poisoning. Something you don't even think about. I mean, I couldn't even get out of bed. And here's a guy that, I don't even know how many years it was. But then the other really interesting thing is we were in Toronto and I'm playing left field. And all of a sudden, Ron Washington's at shortstop. That was when Cal Sr. ended his 10,000 inning streak.
Consecutive innings streak. Yep.
10,000 innings? Are you kidding me? I mean,
no, it's amazing.
Just crazy stuff.
But you know what? He loved to play. So we played hoops out at his house. He was a big kid. He played floor hockey and stuff. It was, it was a feat that he did, but it's not. He loved to compete and play so much that he had to be hurting here and there, but it wasn't bad enough to where he wouldn't go out and be able to perform and do a great job most of the time.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then if competing and baseball wasn't enough and competing in any little things, then he would come over and pound you as a wrestler. He'd just pick you up and pound you and throw you back. And then, I've never met a competitor like him. No doubt. I think you're 100% correct.
No. Were you in the game at the Naval Academy that Cal got hurt in?
I was.
What year was that? Was that about 88?
It could be. I've got the newspaper article from the Baltimore American or the American News American.
Yeah.
That has Cal laying on the ground, and it said that he wouldn't. I thought he got hurt before and didn't. He got hurt the day before. And he didn't play in the game.
Didn't play in the game.
And whoever it was wrote and said Cal's streak is over because he's not playing in the Naval Academy game. I have that.
That's what it was. Yeah. Hey, we've really appreciated you coming on, Larry. It's been a real kick, and it just shows how old Ross and I are. That you now have a kid in the major leagues. It's just unbelievable.
That's great.
We wish him great success.
Oh,
thank you. I appreciate it, guys. This was good going down memory lane.
Oh gosh,
we'll do it again sometime.
We could go for hours talking about stuff. And thanks for mentioning Flanny. I think about him every day. Me and Scotty, we go off every now and then. We get to telling stories and what have you.
Nobody could tell us. Nobody could tell a story better than Ross Grimsley and Mike Flanagan. So might not have always been the truth. But it was a story.
All right.
We add a few things in there every now and then.
Hey, Press Box Live has been brought to you by my friends at C3 American Exteriors. Go to their website at c3america.com to get a brand new roof for just the cost of your insurance deductible. And again, as I always say, no greater expense on your home than fixing or repairing or replacing your roof. C3America.com is the place you should go to check out that company, C3 American Exteriors. For Ross Grimsley, we thank Larry Sheets, and we'll see you next Monday night doing the same thing here. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.